So the protests on campus is a prison break. It's an ideological prison break, and it's a fault line within the Democrat Party. And it shouldn't be happening. It's making them look bad. Their donors are upset. Anyone who has eyes to see and ears to hear is realizing that these colleges are anti-American institutions. Now, I don't think it should go as far to say, if you're committing a crime, you should be arrested, period. But if you're saying things that we don't like, you shouldn't be arrested. If you're assaulting kids, you should be arrested. If you are in places or trespassing places you shouldn't be, after many warnings, you should be arrested, period. Not difficult, but freedom of speech should be protected. Insofar, those things are not being done. Happy to spend a lot of time on the college thing. I do have to always grab. We were ahead of the curve. I wrote a whole book about this called The College Scam, which people can check out, about what is exactly happening in these institutions of higher learning. And part of the problem is that they are so lacking in meaning. They're lacking in any sort of connection with the divine, the eternal, the purposeful. And they're trying to fill that existential void with protest. They think that this is a social justice cause that is similar to the Civil Rights Act or the Civil Rights Movement of the 1960s and 1970s. In fact, you get special social currency in New York young culture if you're arrested while protesting. You get points for that. You're a cool kid. You're fighting for justice. You're fighting for justice against Israel. It's a badge of honor. The Democrats have not, this is a stain for them. The longer Israel is at war, the harder it will be for Joe Biden to keep his coalition together. Not just in Michigan, but in Minnesota with his donors. He has mass defection because these colleges are the closely ideologically aligned. They are the power centers for Joe Biden. This is a perfect interview, perfect clip, I should say. This is an NYU student. Now, understand, NYU is supposed to be a good school. It's hard to get into NYU. Blake could have gotten to NYU. I don't think I had grades good enough to get into NYU. I'll be honest. I don't think I could have got in. Allegedly, the people going into NYU are smart. They know what they're talking about. They're worldly. They're well-informed. They live in the biggest city in the country. Now, I don't want to just pick on this nose ring girl because maybe she was having an off day. I don't like doing that. I do think, though, that it is a micro example of a macro problem, which is how many of these people actually protesting know anything about the Israel-Hamas, Israel-Gaza issue? Or are they told that it's a genocide? They don't think independently at college. Remember, they say diversity is our strength on campus. What they mean by that is that everyone will look different and think the same. These protests have people that are Asian and black and Indian, but they all think the same. There's no ideological diversity, and they don't even know what they're fighting for, many of them. But because we no longer have God as the centerpiece of our culture, something must replace it. And this has almost religious fervor. They feel as if they're fighting for something transcendent. We're fighting for justice against the evil colonialists. Play cut 95.
With tonight's protest?
I think the goal is just showing our support for Palestine and demanding that NYU stops. I honestly don't know all of what NYU's doing.
Is there something that NYU's doing?
I really don't know. I'm pretty sure they're... Do you know what NYU's doing? About what? About Israel. Why are we protesting here?
Palestine will be free!
I wish I was more educated. I'm not either.
Oh.
I came from Columbia. I was there up at Columbia and we came down. They said NYU students needed our support. So I came down. I heard there's lots of cops. Some people were saying it was getting dangerous.
Wait, what? Why are we protesting? Wait, why are we here? She said she was up at Columbia. What's going on here? Now understand, if she would have said, I'm just here to kind of look, I don't have strong opinions about it, but she said that she was a protester. She self-acknowledged as a participant. And so this reporter said, okay, what exactly is the cause that you're fighting for here? Now, I'm going to do something unusual. I'm well on the record, adequately documented about the moral decay on campuses. These campuses, we should seize their endowments. They should be collapsed. They should be repurposed for condominiums and for data centers. And maybe they could be taken over by Hillsdale College. If Columbia, Yale, Princeton, Harvard, Penn, and Cornell disappeared, the country would be a better place. Period. It's not even close. They are against the country. They're against Western civilization. I've been talking about that for quite some time. But I'm going to take a different detour here. It's easy to pick on the nose ring girl, which, by the way, if this is going to sound judgmental, I don't care. I inherently think less of your opinion if you have a nose piercing. I'm sorry. It's just, I can't help myself. If you're still wearing a mask outside, same category. Nose piercing, mask outside, I inherently think that you're full of ideological rubbish. For whatever reason, the nose piercing thing is like super popular right now with colorful hair. Anyway, that's my personal opinion on the matter. But I'm going to sympathize with the mask girl and the nose piercing girl. Because the kids are not all right. They are there because they are part of a generation that is getting screwed. Now, some people don't like when I talk like this. They say, oh, young people just need to work harder. It was tough when I was young. It's a different ballgame. The numbers speak for themselves. One of the reasons they're out in the streets, and one of the reasons why you are seeing the change that we're witnessing on campus, like, for example, we were at the University of Utah, huge crowds, 3 hours. We were on campus for 3 hours, and there were some students that sat there on the last day of class, the last day of finals, when they could have been doing anything else, uninterrupted, super focused, not even look at their phone, listening intently to everything we were talking about. That's not normal. And there is this powerful clip from an NYU professor who hit it pitch perfect. He won on MSNBC. They didn't interrupt him. It's a 90-second clip. He's Jewish, very smart. And if there is one clip that needs to be on repeat and needs to be tattooed into the consciousness of the country, it's this clip. It's not a matter of saying to young people, oh, you're a victim and you deserve free stuff, but it needs to be repeated that what happened during COVID especially was an unprecedented intergenerational scam. It was thievery, it was deception, it was lies that has left a generation lacking in purpose, lacking in meaning, lacking in connection, the most suicidal, alcohol-addicted, drug-addicted generation in history. They're not buying homes, they have no money, they don't have stocks, and they are prime for a political correction. Thanks to Turning Point, thanks to what we're doing, they're actually turning more right-wing than any of these political demographers ever thought they would. And they are waking up, and that's the good news. In fact, they're waking up even more than people in their 60s or 70s. And I know I'm going to get hate mail for saying that, but it's true. Because they own nothing. They're not happy. The game is rigged, and they're starting to realize it. Here is this professor from NYU Stern. I'm going to get his name afterwards. Play cut 80.
For the first time in our nation's history, a 30-year-old man or woman isn't doing as well as his or her parents were at 30. That is the social compact breaking down. People aged 30 to 34, 60% of them in 1990 had one child. Now it's 27%. People are opting out of America. They're not optimistic about it. They're not having kids. Young people aren't having sex. They're not meeting. They're not mating. The pool of emotionally and economically viable men shrinks every day, which lessens household formation. So we have a real issue. Young people are enraged. So it turns every cut every movement into an opportunistic infection because, quite frankly, they are just pissed off. They look up, they see wealth, exceptional wealth across my generation and people in certain industries, and they are really struggling. Their purchasing power is going down, and the incumbents create artificial scarcity on campus. We take pride in rejecting 90% of our applicants, so the incumbents who already have a degree see their degree go up in value. We get very concerned with housing and traffic once we own a housing. Housing permits are sequestered from young people. Housing prices have gone from $290 to $420 in the last 4 years. So a young person, a house, stocks that I don't own skyrocket in value. Let's have COVID relief and flush the markets and take assets way up, because if 1 million people dying would be bad, would be tragic if I got less wealthy. And we're doing it on their credit card. Young people have every reason to be enraged, and every issue they see, they look up, they get angry, and they see someone doing better than them. And then every day it is speedballed in their face that they are failing, that they are not doing as well as everyone around them. We have lost the script. Our kids are more anxious and more depressed and more obese and more addicted. And we have made a purposeful decision to let this happen by ensuring the people around this table stay wealthy at the cost of young people.
Wow. That needs to be repeated and repeated and repeated and repeated. The kids are not all right. They own nothing, and they're angry, and they should be, because they've been robbed. Robbed so that we could keep the stock market artificially high. Robbed so that the good times can keep rolling. And they're waking up. They're waking up.